All right, we're live. Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason. Speak to you in my bedroom in the great state of Kansas. And we're back again with Nick, Bryer, and Scott as we talk about another year and great music that came out that year and our favorite albums from 1974, our top 10 from this year. Um, and we are just talking about it was kind of a weird year to me. I don't know why. It's definitely I think the weakest year maybe of the 70s period, which is we would all say is like one of the greatest decades of music, um, from top to bottom. And I don't know why this is just one of those years that just I did find 10 good albums I like, so but it took a little more research, I felt like, for me to and I grabbed some albums that I never knew before to get into my top 10. While some years it's easy to look at a list and go, "Oh yeah, there's like 15 good albums this year." This is one where I struggled kind of to find 10. I found maybe 12 albums that I liked and I got top 10 out of it. So we're getting to that. There's some years where it's like that where I can maybe barely find 10 in that year. Uh when we get to the 80s, you'll see some of the years I'll be like, I barely could get 10 albums out of this year. And me and Nick struggled in the early 60s sometimes to come out with 10 albums. You
Yeah.
just have to come up, you have to come up with something because it's a 10. It's not the best 10. It's just, I mean, it's the best 10 that you could come up with. It's not, every album's not like, an amazing album, but you're just like, I got to put something on the 10 spot. So you think of something. But I don't know. You guys felt the same way, right? That this was a more difficult year?
Yeah.
It's an okay year. I mean, I don't really have many honorable mentions this year. I mean,
Yeah, me
usually I
either.
have a lot of honorable mentions and I'm trying to limit them. This time I have like four honorable mentions this time.
Yeah, I just got two on mine.
It's still a good year because it's the 70s. Like, if you're looking at just like the songs that came out this year, there's still some pretty heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Still some good albums that come out this year, but nothing that's like, huge this year. Like you were saying before, it seems like all the big bands kind of took a year off this year. And like my top albums here are still like some of my favorites, but um
Yeah.
70, we'll just say I'm a lot more excited about 75.
Yeah, is this a year you own a lot of albums from, Briar?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a bit of a delay for you, Bryer.
It was not that hard. It was not. It was. Yeah. There's. I know this delay.
Oh, okay. um just looking at my what happened in 1974. uh Lots of greatest hits made the top selling album, so I'll just go with like the best selling like studio album was Bad Company by Bad Company, which was the fourth best selling album of 74. um and then at the seventh spot we got No Not Fragile by Bachman Turner Overdrive. In the eighth spot we got Back Home Again by John Denver, so great album there. At ninth spot, we get Your Wings by Aerosmith, and we talked about Aerosmith made an album this year. Uh, and then 10th spot was Endless Summer by the Beach Boys. So Beach Boys even made it in somehow, which I was a little bit surprised because 1974, I didn't know the Beach Boys still had that power, I guess. Um, unless Endless Summer is a compilation. I don't know if that's
It's
a
a compilation
studio
because the
compilation.
only reason why I know is
Okay, it's a
because
compilation. That's why.
their next out they from 73 to because I know there's an album called 15 Big Ones and I believe that was released 1975. So
But
that's how I know because
now I
I
can't
know
hear
they didn't
Nick.
release an actual. I know they didn't release an actual album this year. That's how I know. I believe it was either 16 Big Ones or 15 Big Ones. I forgot what it was, but
15 big
it's a,
ones.
yeah, whatever it is. It's an album by the Beach Boys. That's all I gotta say.
It's a lot of 50s covers.
Yeah, 50s. There's an original, which it's okay. I mean, after Holland for me, that's when the Beachy. That's I was gonna say Bee Gees.
Bee Gees.
That's when the Beach Boys sort of take like a downward spiral for me. Like for me, like I don't really have much. I mean, as you can see, like I haven't had any of their albums on my list ever since Surfs Up, and sadly, that's probably going to stay that way for me.
All right. Okay. I gotta figure out if I can hear people because I can't hear Nick.
You can't hear me?
Can people hear me?
I can hear.
Yeah.
Scott Bryer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about now?
Okay, I'm gonna leave and come back then.
Okay. How about you? How about you, Scott? Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I didn't. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope all that stuff I said about the Beach Boys and all that wasn't for
Oh
nothing.
yeah, no, I could hear you the whole time.
Awesome. And Bryer, you don't have a delay anymore, which is nice.
Yeah.
There we go.
Back in New York City.
Yes. I got this. Well, Jason's going in and out. Went to New York City. Went to the Mets game. Bought myself myself a jersey and myself a 1986 ring. As Ace once said from Kiss, back in the New York groove. I love that song.
Great.
Can you hear me, Jason?
Oh my gosh.
Hello. You can't hear me. Technical difficulties.
It's one of those nights, I guess.
I
No,
know.
that's the next Eagles album.
That's true.
That's next year.
Yeah. Can't say anything other than the title, or we might get copyright struck.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Jason? Hello.
Two Jasons.
Tell me you like the Beatles if you can hear me.
I like the Beatles.
I know you can hear me, Scott.
Now there's two of me.
Can you hear me, Jason? You still can't hear me.
Oh no.
I can't. This video can't be too long because I gotta wake up pretty early tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to a Ranger game tomorrow. So Mets today, Rangers tomorrow, and I'm going to Baltimore Monday. So
Oh wow.
I have a pretty busy weekend. Like I said, I wasn't even expecting to do a video today, to be honest. I'm happy though.
Oh, okay. So away now.
What's up, everybody? Today, welcome to my new channel. I'm naming myself Jason the Old Millennial now. Today, we're going to be talking about how great Queen is and how great the Queen 2 box set is. I listened to the new remix. Oh, hey, Jason, welcome back. Can you hear me?
Is it working now?
It's
Can you
working
hear me?
now.
Okay.
Jason,
Dang it,
can you hear
sorry.
me? Jason,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All
I'm
right.
sorry. I had so much trouble.
No, you're good. Man, I
okay.
was just talking about how I took over the channel. We were talking about Queen, you know.
But yeah. Yeah, so those are kind of the big albums, I guess. Notable things, Cher divorced Sonny Bono. Sad.
I thought that would have happened later.
ABBA wins Eurovision contest with Waterloo. Cassie Elliott dies at age 32. So, and John Lennon and Harry Nilsson get kicked out of Tommy Smothers show or something. Anyways, Mick Taylor leaves the Rolling Stones as well. So, just some things that happened this year. Anyways, let's get to our top Oh, and now I'm in first place again, aren't I? Wait a minute. Something like this. Dang it. There we go. All right. All right, Nick. I guess we'll start off with your 10 through 6.
All right. I'm looking forward to doing this. All right. 10 through 6. And again, just to be very, very clear, this is not one of my favorite years of music. So these are not like, these are like the best albums ever. These are good albums. All right. So number 10, I'm going to go with Heroes Are Hard to Find by Fleetwood Mac. The one with one of the weirdest album covers ever
Weird album
made.
cover.
One of three really weird album covers. One with the guy with the doll going. Two is Mammoth going with the frosting, and then the third one where we got another Mr. Wonderful. We got Mr. Wonderful again, looking extremely skinny for no reason and freaky. But the music, on the other hand, is good though. Trust me, please trust me on this one. Here's how to find. I think we all really like that one, if I remember. Really good Christine McVie song. Coming Home is a cool Bob Welch song. Angel, that's another great one. Bermuda Triangle is great. Come a Little Bit Closer, that's a good McVie song. She's Changing Me, that's great. I remember that being like fast pace. It's like a faster paced Welch song. It sounds like a McVie song. And I think Bad Loser sounds like if McVie did a Bob Welch song. I remember they both did a song that sounded like they're like them doing like their other counterpart, which I thought that was pretty cool. And Safe Harbor, that's a great closing track. Coming in at number 9, Crime of the Century by Supertramp. Yeah, it just goes to show how much I like this year. It's a decent album. I've never been the biggest fan of this album compared to I love Breakfast in America. That's an awesome album. And my favorite album still, even in the quietest moments, that album's amazing.
Yeah.
But this album, I always felt like this album was a little overrated compared to the other two albums, in my opinion. It's good, but it's never been like, wow, this is like one of their the best album from them. School, that's a good song. Bloody Well Right, that's a
Bloody Well Right, so good.
That's a great song. Dreamer is really good. Crime of the Century. Okay, I admit that's a pretty good one. Crime of the Century. That's a pretty good one. Yes, we are back. But yeah, it's a decent album. Rudy's okay. Hiding Your Shell is okay. There's a bunch of songs where I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Like as a whole, it's an okay album. But the highs are pretty high though. Again, just goes to show how weak this year is. Number 8, It's Only Rock and Roll by the Rolling Stones. It's an underrated album, I'll admit, but it's okay. A lot of these albums are like, they're good, but nothing where I'm like, this is like top shelf, must listen to music. It's like it's like music that you listen to when you're a fan of the band. Like the Rolling Stones. Like I'm a big fan of the Rolling Stones. Listen to It's Only Rock and Roll, kind of like that. The title track, of course, very iconic. My favorite song, Till the Next Goodbye. Time Waits for No One. Fingerprint File. Now that song is amazing. That's a great song. That's an amazing song. I love Luxury. That's a great one. But there's 3 songs on side 2 where I'm like, it's okay. Like, If You Really Want to Be My Friend, Dance a Little Sister, and Short and Curly's. Those are okay songs. Another song I got to add, Ain't Too Proud to Beg. Great cover.
James Brown.
Great cover. It's a Temptations cover.
Temptations.
Great Temptation. Maybe it was done by James Brown, but the one I know is the Temptation version. That's like the iconic version, but they do a hell of a job on it. I mean, they do 2 really good Temptation cover. Ain't Too Proud to Beg, Just My Imagination. Those covers are great. It's just my imagination. I'm looking forward to talking about that one if they do, if it does make my list. But coming at number 7, Odds and Sods by the Who. Again, just goes to show how weak this year is. Like, if this was 73 or 75, this would not even make it close to my list. This would be like this would be like on the bottom shelf of albums. But 74, this is number 7 for me. And Postcard, that's pretty fun. I'm having a lovely time. Wish you were here. Great horns and stuff. Little Billy, great song. Little Billy didn't mind too much of anything. Glow Girl, I love Glow Girl. That's a great song. Pure and Easy. I remember I'm like this, like that last part of like song is over. There once was a note, pure and easy. Ba 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 ba. I remember being like, I love that part of the song, and Scott was like, "There's a whole song on that." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "I didn't know that," because I didn't think of Odds and Sods as an album I would want to listen to, and I listened to it. I'm like, "Wow, this is great." Long Live Rock is great. I think it's weird that they have their first single on the face on it, but you know, it's good. Number 6, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway.
Oh yeah.
Tommy, if you put it on heavy drugs, I mean, Tommy was already on drugs, but imagine putting it on LSD. Now you have it out on Broadway. Like, it's a great album, though. If you ignore the story aspect of it and you just think of it as like a prog album, it's a good album. Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Fly on a Windshield, Broadway Melody of 74. That's great. In the Cage. That's all I gotta say. Back in New York City. Carpet Crawlers. That's like one of my favorite Genesis songs ever. I love that song. Chamber of 32 Doors. Oh, another great song. Side 2 does go down a little bit, but man, there's some great stuff on here. And yeah, that's my 10 through 6.
All right. Yeah, none of them are on my list so far. We'll see. Hopefully agree on a couple I can think of, but let's go to Bryer for his 10 through 6. Let's see if we get any hard rock here. Or heavy metal or whatever.
Uriah Heep and
Well,
I
mean, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later. But I didn't really get to talk about my feelings of 74 because I had to leave for certain things. I actually did not have a hard time finding 10 for me. I mean, I had 75 albums to listen for this year,
Jeez,
so it wasn't too bad. And honestly, I will say, for me, when 74 hits, it hits hard. And I will say, I think all my 10 albums I have, I would all give them a 10 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's how much I like them.
Cool.
Yeah. So first off, I mean, yeah, you're right. There's going to be some hard rock. But this is the first time this band has appeared on my list. And that's going to be Blue Oyster Cult with their 3rd studio album, Secret Treaties.
Secret Treaties. Oh, okay.
So, yeah, this is their 3rd studio album, and they had their first 3 album is kind of known as the Black and White trilogy, since their first 3 albums all had a black and white album cover scheme. So that's kind of why. But yeah, this is the first time I'm mentioning them here, and I really do like Blue Oyster Cult a lot. I think they're a very underrated hard rock band, especially here in America, because Britain gets a lot of praise for the hard rock, but America had some good stuff too. And this is definitely one of my favorites from the band. Starts out really good with a very catchy Career of Evil. There's a good catchy drum beat to just get you moving. And some really interesting vocals. I mean, Blue Oyster Cult ain't known for vocals too much, but they fit. They fit for the sound. Subhuman is a really good follow-up song. Then you have Dominance and Submission, which is one of the heaviest songs on the album. very cool guitar work on that one. Then you have Me 262, pretty nice one. Harvester of Eyes, Flamin' Telepaths. But one of my favorite song on here is the closing song, Astronomy. That's probably their kind of the closest they ever got to having like an epic song. It's not too long. It's like about 6.5 minutes, so it's not too bad. But really cool vibe they have with that one. And again, the guitar work is really good. So yeah, that's gonna be my number 10, Blue Oyster Cult with Secret
Alright.
Treaties. Now, next up is kind of more in the hard rock vein. So this band released 2 albums this year. They released their first album and their second album, and so it was kind of weird deciding which one I would pick. The band's Kiss, by the way. I actually had
Okay.
a hard time choosing which one I would go with, but I might go with the possibly unpopular opinion, but I'm going to go with their second album, Hotter Than Hell.
Hotter than hell.
So this album gets kind of Hotter Than Hell, yes. So this album gets a lot of flack for the sake that in terms of the 2 albums, this one has the worst production. It's very muddy, but that said, I think I don't know. To me, the muddiness kind of helps make the album sound heavier. To me, it's kind of like a Born Again from Black Sabbath situation where the production sucks, but it kind of elevates it to me. But that's just how I feel. And also another thing I give this album just a slight nudge over the debut is the fact that there's 2 songs on the debut I'm not crazy about. Oddly enough, both songs have "Kiss" in the name of the song title, so I don't know what that means. But I think this is a definitely more consistent listen all the way through. Again, it's probably their heaviest album they ever did. Great guitar work from Ace Frehley still, and still some very good fun songs on here. Probably some of my favorite songs were "Got to Choose," "Parasite," "Going Blind," the title track, "Watching You," "Coming Home," and then really cool closing song with "Strange Ways." I believe that's Peter Criss, the drummer, on vocals on that one. So again, production may not be the greatest, but as a more cohesive listening, I think I prefer this one over the first album. But the first album's still really good. You can kind of see it back there too, in that little corner back there, the CD.
Is it
But
kind of glam
that's
rock
number
or
9. A little bit. I wouldn't say they're
a
full.
little
I
bit?
mean, they get the glam
Okay.
rock because of the makeup,
Okay.
but they definitely lean more in the hard rock vein to me.
Okay.
I listened to those
All right,
for
number
the
8.
1974. They're kind of just like hard rock.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, number 8. This is one Nick mentions. Yep, Crime of the Century, Supertramp. Yep. I mean, to me, this is where most fans would say this is where Supertramp basically found themselves, because their first 2
Yeah.
albums, they're really not essential.
Yeah.
But here they really came into their own here. And I'm not going to go into in depth because Nick already mentioned a lot of the big highlights. School is great, Bloody Well Right. And I love the closing song, the title track. I love how it keeps building towards at the end there. Really great. But Dreamer's nice, and I pretty much enjoy. I really do enjoy Hide in Your Shell, Asylum, and Rudy. And even if everyone was listening, it's a very well put together album and a good start to a string of albums they would put out throughout the decade. But maybe we'll talk more about them later. That's going to be number 8. Now, I'll be straight up. My next 2 picks, I'm 100% sure no one will have.
Okay.
That said, 1974 was a good year for progressive rock.
Okay.
Because number 7 is going to be a band. The band's called Camel, and this is their second album, Mirage. And by the way, the Camel looks like very similar to the cigarette.
Yes, he does.
Brand. I think they got sued for that. I think they almost got sued for that.
That's the first thing I thought of.
But anyway, but especially, you have the big names, the Yeses, the Genesises, the the King Crimsons. You have the big names, but then just below them, Camel usually gets brought up. One thing that I always like about Camel, yep, they can be experimental, but there's times where their music is just beautiful. Like they'll have this gorgeous melody in the song, whether it's from the keyboard. There you go, Joe knows what's up. Whether it's from the keyboard or from the guitars, there's just a gorgeous melodies throughout all the albums I've heard from them. And most people say this is usually number one. I I'm kind of flip flop between what's my favorite, but this is again an excellent one. Only 5 songs on here. Start off really good with Free Fall, just a nice kind of more upbeat sort of song to kind of get you moving, but still have a nice guitar melody in there. Super Twister is another good follow up song. There are a couple instrumental tracks on here, but I think the instrumental tracks are fairly good. Very well worth listening to. And then you have a couple longer tracks. Probably the big one most people would say is the Lady Fantasy Suite. Really good. That's the closing song. It's like 12 minutes, but again, some really cool stuff they were doing on that. But yeah, it's a really good one. If you want to check out Camel, then this is a good one to start, I'd say. And then
all right, another band I haven't heard of.
Yeah, number 6, and we're gonna keep going with that trend. So this band is called Renaissance, and this is their album, Turn of the Cards. So this one's interesting because this is one of the few progressive rock bands where there's a female lead singer. Most prog bands, they usually have a male singer. But here they have a female singer. And when I first heard her voice, her name is Annie Haslam. And the second I heard her voice, I was just amazed. Like, I loved her voice. She probably has the greatest singing voices of all of progressive rock to me. It's just so beautiful, very angelic, but very, because there's a little bit, she's kind of like a soprano in a sense. She has a very high voice, and it matches the very symphonic nature of Renaissance because they have a lot of very orchestral sort of arrangements in their music, and it all just beautiful, like similar to the Camel, but the music, it's still like very out there, but still there's gorgeous stuff on here. This one has 6 songs this time, but it starts out really nice with Running Hard, kind of more upbeat song to get you in. But then you have a 3-minute song called I Think of You, and I can't remember if they released that as a single because I feel like that could have been a bigger hit. That's a very nice, good, kind of more ballad type, kind of more pop ballad, if you will. But again, Annie Haslam's vocals just absolutely gorgeous on it. Things I Don't Understand is really nice. Black Flame, kind of another good epic sort of cinematic sort of track. Cold as Being is really nice. And then you close off with probably my favorite song on here. That's the 9-minute epic with Mother Russia. That's probably a song I would say check it out because I think you get a good sense of who Renaissance are. But yeah, it's a very cool epic song. And again, the scope of where they go is really cool. So that is my number 6, Turn of the Cards from Renaissance.
All right. Some more albums for me to figure out, I guess. Yeah, I guess we're still in a prog rock era, still in a glam rock era, I would say. But yeah.
Yeah, there's some pretty good progressive rock albums this year.
Yeah, it's still going pretty strong, I guess, with prog rock at this period. I mean, Rush is just not coming in, right?
Yeah. I feel like Rush is almost behind the times with the progressive rock thing.
Yeah, they're a little bit later, I guess.
But like they go on stronger than like other bands like King Crimson and Yes, like still release a few albums in the 80s, but Rush like releases like a lot of their biggest stuff in the 80s. But yeah, no Neil Peart yet in 74.
Next year, yeah.
Sadly, not until we get Fly By
Very
Night.
true. Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, we'll see if I put the Rush's first album, aka Led Zeppelin Light, on this list.
Yeah, I know we have one fan in the group, at least. Maybe 2. I don't know.
I need to listen to it again.
All right, Scott, you're 10 through 6.
All right, I guarantee everybody has heard of this album. Number 10, Pretzel Logic by Steely Dan. Yeah, after the
Good
kind
choice.
of disappointing Countdown to Ecstasy last year, this album gets back to good Steely Dan. Like, I still like some of the stuff of the last album. Like, Bodhisattva is good. Mild School is fantastic. But this album is pretty good all the way through. You start out with the huge hit, Ricky Don't Lose That Number, which is actually Steely Dan's highest charting single.
Mm.
So, technically their biggest hit.
Yeah.
Some other good stuff on here, Night by Night, Any Major Dude, Berrytown, the title song, Pretzel Logic. There's all these like shorter songs on the second side that go like right in a row. With a Gun, Charlie Freak, Monkey in Your Soul. Steely Dan is just continuing to experiment with like just how sophisticated they can make their records sound, which ultimately is going to culminate in Asia a few years later. But this is kind of the last album where they're actually like a quote unquote band. Like you still have members that are on lots of songs. Jeff Baxter is still the guitar player at this point. Of course, he would be a guest musician on another Doobie Brothers record this year, and that kind of leads to, after Steely Dan disbanding, him going over and joining the Doobie Brothers after this. And then, of course, Michael McDonald, who did backing vocals with Steely Dan and toured with them, would become their lead singer for the Doobie Brothers later on as well. So that's kind of where the connection comes in with Jeff Baxter and Michael McDonald with the Doobie Brothers. But yeah, number 10, Pretzel Logic, Steely Dan. I'm going to put ones I've talked about on the other side. Okay, number 9, Queen 2.
Me too.
Yeah, we all love Queen here on this channel, and this is probably Queen's most like progressive rock sounding album. There's two sides to this album. There's the black side and the white side. The white side is the first side, and that's kind of where all the Brian May songs are. Some good stuff there, like Father to Son and White Queen, but where this album really shines is the black side, where you get all Freddie Mercury's weird fantasy stuff. Ogre Battle, Fairy Feller, Nevermore, March of the Black Queen, The Seven Seas of Rye, like just epic stuff. Brian May just going at it with the guitar. And speaking of the March of the Black Queen, like that song, like you can kind of see where Freddie Mercury wrote Bohemian Rhapsody when you listen to that song, because he's already writing songs that have like several different sections. And I just spoke about the Seven Seas of Rye. That was Queen's first minor hit that kind of got them noticed. So kind of a big album for them. Like it kind of got them to be not like household names, but like it got them more traction. Their third album is really where they get off, like become big stars. But we'll see if that one shows up later on my list. But for now, number 9 is going to be Queen 2.
That album just got a big release, didn't it?
It did. It had like a
Big box set.
super deluxe. Number 8 is the only album that I do not own. So I'm going to pull up the track listing, but that is Fulfillingness First Finale by Stevie Wonder.
One of the weirdest titles.
Yeah, kind of an odd. I mean, not like Intervisions is a normal sounding title either. I had the opportunity to buy this album, but sadly I didn't buy it because I thought it was a little expensive. I really liked his album last year. It was like number 3. This year it's number 8. Like, still really great, but I don't like it as much as Intervisions. But there's still some really good stuff on here. Heaven is 10 zillion light years away, I thought was really good. Kind of talking about people saying, like, God is so far away. Like, what is he doing in the world? Stevie Wonder kind of saying, I don't like to listen to those people because God's right here with you and me. I had actually never heard Boogie on Reggae Woman before. That song is awesome. The synthesizers on that song are so cool. And then I had heard one song on this album, You Hadn't Done Nothing. That song is amazing as well. yeah, the whole album is pretty good. It's actually been a little bit since I've listened to this album, so I don't remember everything about it. I would like to buy it eventually because I did like this album. I just it didn't really like speak to me as much as Intervisions did, but still pretty good. Now we got number 7. We've had 2 people talk about this one already. The Crime of the Century by Supertramp.
Wow.
Yeah, this album is I don't know what Nick says that this album is very good. I think this album is really good. It's only like 8 songs, but they're all pretty good. Supertramp always has this like immaculate production on their albums. It always sounds like really good. They have all these weird instruments like saxophones and clarinets and stuff like that that are like really cool. And then of course their signature is the electric piano. They're always going to have some good electric piano when you listen to a Supertramp album. School is a really good opener. I mean, my favorite song is You're Bloody Well Right. That song has like one of the best electric piano openings ever. Like he's just kind of flexing his keyboard playing skills there for a few minutes.
Like best acapella part 2 or whatever.
Yeah, when you get to the chorus, right, you bloody well right. You got the bloody right to say. Oh, and rest in peace to Rick Davies, who passed away recently. He's a guy who wrote and sang that song. Hide in Your Shell. Sorry, Roger Hodgson. Was it Rick Davies or Roger Hodgson who died recently?
Rick Davies.
I'm trying to remember. It was Rick Davies. I had it right the first time. Just trying to make sure. Okay. Hide in Your Shell. That is Roger Hodgson is Hide in Your Shell. That song is awesome as well. I love the chorus, the kind of call and response with the saxophone, where it's like the saxophone's like da-na-na-na-na-na. Like he'll sing something and the saxophone kind of goes ba-na-na-na-na-na. I've always really liked that. Asylum, that song's awesome as well. Dreamer is kind of the other hit on this album with Bloody Well Right. The electric piano on that is amazing as well. Bum, 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 bum. Dreamer, you know you are a dreamer. Rudy, that song is great as well. You know, I think If Everyone Was Listening is probably my least favorite song on this album. It's kind of like, what's that song? Casual Conversation on Breakfast in America, but like it's still pretty good. And then, of course, the big album closer title song, Crime of the Century. That song is awesome and kind of a mini meme in our group just because of that time when Nick was saying that he didn't like moving pictures, and on my moving pictures review, when he said that, it went, the crime of the century. Yeah, but I love this record. I probably need to listen to it more. I mean, Breakfast in America gets, it's in pretty heavy rotation, but I don't listen to that one as much. I probably need to because it's amazing as well. Number 6. Here's the other one. Sheer Heart Attack by Queen. We have 2 Queen albums this year, both in my top 10. I think at one point I would have said I liked Queen 2 better, but listening to them both again recently for we were reviewing all of the Queen albums on Bryer's channel, I think I like this one better. In my opinion, I would say this is probably Queen's heaviest album because there's some like almost punk sounding songs on here, like Stone Cold Crazy and Brighton Rock. Of course, you also got the thing that made them superstars, Killer Queen, on this album, which that's an awesome song. This also kind of starts the progression of Queen making these weird musical left turns where you don't know what they're going to do with stuff like Bring Back That Leroy Brown and In the Lap of the Gods Revisited. What else is on this album? John Deacon gets to write his first song on this album. If you know, you know. How could I forget Now I'm Here? That song's awesome as well. Yeah. I'm trying to talk about Now I'm Here and I can't focus because of Brier's joke, his visual gag. But now I'm Here is another awesome song on here with a great guitar riff, and I love the echo. Yeah, Queen is only going to get better from here because
yes.
Next year's A Night at the Opera, and that's going to be on my list for next year. So yeah, that's gonna be my number 6. Sheer Heart Attack.
All right. Good stuff there. We got a couple. I'll make my list as well. All right. So my 10 spot, Ringo made my 10 spot last year in 73. Guess what? He comes back again, takes the 10th spot with Goodnight Vienna. So I was glad to get Ringo in twice at least, because Ringo, it's probably the last time I'll have Ringo in my top 10. We'll see, I guess, in the future. I haven't listened to as many. I know Nick's listened to all the albums, I think, and Breyer's got, I know he's had some albums in his collection, so he might
Like
know more than
4.
me. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. But I'll say like Ringo is my favorite so far, and Goodnight Vienna is my second favorite. Both are really fun albums. Like I feel like for Ringo, he doesn't have the best voice. You know, he's not a big songwriter. In fact, John Lennon writes, I think, Goodnight Vienna, and Harrison, I think, co-writes some song. He co-writes. He does have a couple of songs where he co-writes with somebody else, and pretty good songs on here, but I don't know. It's just the songs are fun and it works. I think Goodnight Vienna, I think is a really fun song. Enjoy that a lot. Husbands and Wives, maybe my favorite song on the album. I think is a really good, more ballad type song that Starkey wrote, co-wrote at least. It wasn't with one of the Beatles, somebody else, I think. Snookeroo, super fun. I mean, just the name, it's fun. Um, all by myself, I thought was good. Call Me and the No No song. I mean, what a fun song. I
No,
said no,
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 no, I don't
no.
smoke it no
I don't
more.
smoke anymore. Or whatever.
I don't.
Or
I don't. No more.
no more. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I had a good time with it. So that's why when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, it makes my 10 spot because I just have a blast with this album, just
I
like the
might need
last
to listen
album.
to
So.
that. I don't think I've heard that one.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Like I said, Ringo and Goodnight Vienna so far have been the ones that I've enjoyed the most out of Ringo, anyways. Um, Number 9, I'm gonna go with Street Life Serenade by Billy Joel. This is considered one of Billy Joel's weaker albums, and he definitely we talked about his strongest album already on Scott's channel, and that'll be coming up before too long. But this was surprisingly, like, I thought a decent album. Like I didn't mind it. Um, Again, it doesn't really have like I don't know a really big hit on here. When I re-listened to it, I will have to say the Entertainer might be my favorite song. It wasn't when we reviewed it, I think, but now going back, the Entertainer is such a catchy song, and it's funny too. The lyrics have some funny stuff in it. And it's autobiographical kind of, and yeah, that's definitely the funnest song in here. I did like Serenade Serenader, the opener. I thought some good piano in it. The Great Suburban Showdown I really liked, and Roberta was I think my favorite, but I think it's now taking a backseat to the Entertainer. But I don't know, I really like that song too. Los Angeles, whatever, was decent as well. I think so. There's some decent stuff. It's not as top tier stuff, but again, this was kind of a weak year. Again, it probably wouldn't make most of the other years in the '70s, but it's one of those years where I was like, I like Billy Joel so much that he still sneaks in here at number 9. Number 8, this is the only album I have with me. That is Caribou by Elton John, which does get a Grammy nomination for Best Album this year. And by the way, Fulfilling This Personality does win Album of the Year this year. So, uh, uh, so you got that on your list so far, Scott, and I'm sure someone else will have it on their list,
It's like
maybe.
the third consecutive
Um,
Grammy win from Stevie Wonder, so he was on fire at this point.
he wins 3 out of 4. It's crazy. Uh, have we talked about we talked about Intervisions.
Yeah, Intervisions. I
We haven't
think
talked about key song in the key of life. We haven't talked about that one yet, have we?
it's
Or
That's
going to
my
be
number one for 72.
76. But next number 1 for 72 was
yeah,
Talking Book,
Yeah.
which
yeah.
was the other one that he won.
He takes a year off and lets Paul Simon win one, and then comes back and wins again, which is just it's insane. Yeah, it's an insane run of best albums. Anyways, just saying. But anyways, getting back to Caribou, uh, we reviewed this. Seems like not that long ago as well. Oh, I didn't write down the songs because I have the album. That's why. Um, the Bee is Back. It is a fun song. Looking back at it, I wasn't sure if I like it that much, but then listen back, it is a fun song. Um, uh, I can't remember. I think one of Grimsby or Pinky I liked quite a bit. I'm forgetting now. Um, I've seen the Saucers. I remember being kind of an interesting song. Then the big one, "Don't Let Go of Down." "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me" is an awesome song. It's definitely the best song on here. One of his greatest ballads. Love that as well. And then "Ticking," I believe was that the kind of long epic song that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I might think of a different album.
No, that's the one.
That's the one that had a good story behind it and all that. Yeah, I enjoyed quite a bit as well. Anyway, so yeah, so there, Elton John's still in. I know Goodbye. I mean, yeah, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road was my second favorite last year. That was the big one, but it still comes in strong. So Billy Joel and Elton John still in the top 10. It's not exactly their strongest albums, but yet again, 74. Uh, you have to go if you can't find anything else. It's like they're a good go-to artists to go. Yeah, we'll just throw them in there. But they're two decent albums, I think overall. Um, Number 7, I have "Late for the Sky" by Jackson Brown. This is, I think, the first time I got Jackson Brown in here, and he does have another album that's I know it's going to make my top 10. That was in my top 100 favorite albums now. Um, but this is, and I even liked "For Every Man." I think was a honorable mention maybe a year or so before. But I really like Jackson Brown's style. He's got that folk rock style, kind of along with the Eagles, because he's kind of friends with the Eagles, and so he has a kind of similar style, I think, to them. I really like his voice. I think he has a really good voice, and just the style I really enjoy. He does have a couple like more upbeat rockers that I'm not as fan of on the album, but he doesn't have any big hits on here. This like it's an album that's not a big hit album. It's more of a deep cut album, I would say. But I do like "Late for the Sky," "Fountain of Sorrow," "Farther On," and "Before the Deluge." I think was the closer for the album. We're all good songs. They're not like top tier Jackson Brown songs, but again, it's one of those things where it's like these aren't the strongest albums for these artists, but since it's 74, there's not a lot of for some reason their strong albums aren't coming out this year. They came out the year before or a year after. Feels like they all come out with their stronger albums, but still a solid album, I think, by Jackson Brown. Um, Number 6, this is one of the best discoveries I've had, and that is an album called "Perfect Angel" by Minnie Riperton. And I knew Minnie Riperton for basically one song, which is on this album, which is "Loving You," which is an amazing song. I always loved that song. That was her one like big hit. And Minnie Riperton, she has one of the best voices I've ever heard, and she has one of the highest voices I've ever heard. She hits like has this 5 octave level that's incredible. She hits this note that only like dogs can hear, kind of note. It's like crazy how high she can sing, and that's kind of her big thing on "Loving You." She hits that really high note, and you're like, oh my god, that's amazing. Like it's like Mariah Carey or something, only hits those kind of notes. Um, but yeah, "Loving You" is beautiful love song that she wrote. And if you don't know Minnie Riperton, she wasn't around for a long time. She died young, so she only made not too many albums. I think this is the best one I've heard from her. Uh, she had a daughter named Maya Rudolph, who you might know. She was on Saturday Night Live, and she was in Bridesmaids, and also married to Paul Thomas Anderson, who just won 3 Oscars this a couple Sundays ago at the Oscars. Interesting enough. So but so interesting, I think she's very interesting in that nobody talks about her very much because she had like kind of a small, lifespan in music, and she only had like one hit. But man, she is so good of a singer. Like this is definitely one where I'm like, I really would love people to check this album out because I think it's got some really good stuff in it. Including like the first song, "Reasons," is amazing. Like that is such a good song. It's more upbeat, but man, she has such an amazing voice. It's so fun to listen to. To me, that should have been a huge hit song as well, I think. "It's So Nice to See Old Friends" is a nice, really nice duet. It's a little bit of a more piano ballad style, but kind of a duet with another, sounds like another female singer. That's a really nice song. And "The Edge of a Dream," also really good stuff on here. So, man, this is definitely one I would recommend anybody checking out that's never heard of Minnie Riperton. And here, listen to "Loving You" and "Reasons." I think you'll be a fan, in my opinion. So that's my number 6. I go back to Nick for 5-2.
My number 5, and Jason did predict it pretty well. There is a fan of the supposed Led Zeppelin Light album. Rush. Rush is my number
Rush
5.
does get in. Okay.
Yes, Rush.
Rush by Rush, right?
And I really could thank Bryer for that, because I never hated the album. I never did, but I remember Bryer was ready. He was ready to go on fully defending that album, and I'm like, you know what? I gotta listen to it more. Forget the other album exists. That's one thing you gotta do with these debuts. Pretend like the other ones don't exist. This is their first album. Pretend Permanent Waves don't exist. Pretend Moving Pictures doesn't exist. This is their one and only album. They're not trying to. I don't know. They're not trying to replicate something that they haven't even made yet. So it's a fun rock album. And, Finding My Way, Need Some Love is pretty fun. This whole album's pretty fun. I love Before and After. That's a before. So that it's separated into 2 tracks showing on Wikipedia. The Before, it sounds like the melody from Spirit of Radio, which is pretty cool. You could hear it. And Working Man, of course, that's a great song. But
Yeah,
overall,
that's the big one.
That's a great song. Number 4, I'm gonna go with Fulfilling This' first finale. So
Yeah, I wonder if he had it there.
of course.
Of course.
I mean, when haven't I had Stevie Wonder?
Oh yeah, when do you not have?
These past since 68, there hasn't been one time I haven't had Stevie Wonder on my list. Smile Please, Heaven is 10 zillion light years away. I love that song. I know that heaven is 10 zillion light years away. Great stuff. Too Shy to Say is good. Boogie on Reggae Woman. That song's epic. Creepin'. I love that song. That song is so underrated. You Haven't Done Nothing. You have the Jackson 5 background vocals. Do what? That's pretty fun. They Won't Go When I Go is pretty haunting. Please Don't Go. That's a great song. But yeah, really, really great album. Coming in number 10. Coming number 3, Queen 2. Yes, Queen 2. You're probably thinking, that isn't your favorite album of the year? Unfortunately, no. There are 2 albums I do like better. And the remix version is good, unlike the Queen 1 remix. Where
Oh, good.
But yeah, Queen 2. That's a great album. The White Side I really enjoy. I think it's underrated. Especially I love White Queen. That song is so underrated. I don't think anyone talks about that song. I think it's super underrated. But I will say the Black Side is really great too. Fairy Fellas, Master Stroke, Nevermore, March of the Black Queen, Funny How Love Is, Seven Seas of Rye. That's a great album. Coming number 2, we're gonna get our first appearance from ABBA. Yes, we're getting an ABBA appearance. Waterloo.
Waterloo.
Yes, that's a great album. A really, really great album. Title track is awesome. Sitting in the Palm Tree is pretty good reggae stuff. King Kong song, one of the funnest songs you'll ever hear. People say it's their worst song. I don't get it. I mean, it's fun. It's ABBA. What do you expect from ABBA? ABBA's fun. If you're expecting if you're expecting serious songs from ABBA, you're going to be very disappointed. It's a fun song. I'm happy Bryer liked it. I'm happy Jacob liked it. I'm happy most people I showed the song to liked it, because it's one of those songs where I think it's criminally underrated. It's a fun song. It's fun. Hasta Mañana is great. My Mama Said is cool. Dance While the Music Still Goes On. That's awesome. Honey, Honey. I love that song. Honey,
Honey.
Honey.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. I mean, not funny. Pretty fun. Watch Out. It's okay. What About Livingston? That's great. Gonna sing you my love song. Great ballad. Susie Hangaround. It's a pretty mean spirited song actually. More mean spirit than you expect, especially for ABBA. And it's the only song that Benny sings lead vocal on. It's a catchy song though, but it's very mean spirited. Uh, then if you're getting the Swedish version of the album, then you get the Swedish title track and then the English title track to finish it. But U.S. version, you get Ring Ring to end the album, a remix version, not the original on the first album, but a remix version, which it's odd, but hey, I love Ring Ring, so I don't mind having it twice. And yeah, that's my number two, and that's my 5 through 2.
Waterloo is probably the first big hit, right?
Yeah, it's the one that broke them. That
It kind of broke him. Yeah,
with
that's what I was thinking.
Euro.
Yeah, that's a good song. All right, Bryer, we're all wondering if a certain band from royalty will show up on your list.
Well, we'll find out. Okay, so next, number 5, more hard rock. Pretty big one. Well, big band. Deep Purple, Burn is coming up next.
Okay.
So this is the first album with the Mark III lineup of the band. Other guys, those people being Glenn Hughes on bass and also vocals, but the main vocalist they got was David Coverdale, who would, spoiler alert, go on to form Whitesnake later on.
Okay.
But this is their first album together, and they really did it. Like, this is one of those cases where I think originally it was an album that people kind of ignored because, hey, there's no Ian Gillan, no Deep Purple, that whole thing. But I think in recent time it has been reappraised and is now considered a classic in the Deep Purple camp. Because, you know, the first song, the title track, one of the greatest opening songs to an album, especially for hard rock. Like, it's just this big barn burner. Like, the drumming on here is out of this world, and again, the vocals between David and Glenn, how they trade off from each other, just really powerful stuff. Again, I'm an Ian Gillan fan. I'll always be an Ian Gillan fan, but David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes, like, they come in close second when they're together. From then on, you get Might Just Take Your Life, another good one. Now, the Mark III, this is also when you're kind of seeing a little bit more slight funk influence coming in, because Glenn Hughes kind of liked funk. So there's a little bit of a influence putting in there, but not too much yet. But still a good follow-up song. Lay Down, Stay Down is a good one. Sail Away, no, not the CCR song, a different Sail Away.
A cover song?
That's way better. It's a million times better. No Fool No One's also really good. What's going on here is another nice song. And then probably another one of the big songs on here is Mistreated. That song, that's where David's vocals really shine. Like, he is putting his entire soul into that song. Like, he's really putting all the emotion into it. Just one of the great vocal performances from him. The album does close out with an instrumental with A200, but I can let that slide because everything else on this album is just absolutely killer. So that's number 5, Burn from Deep Purple. Then from then on, number 4, this is an album I think it's been mentioned already. Yep, Genesis, Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. If you would have asked me like 5 years ago, I don't think it would have been on the list, because for a long time it took me quite a few years to actually get into, because I liked sides 1 and 2. I've always did, but sides 3 and 4 were always the hardest. That's kind of where the album kind of dragged for me for a long time. But again, shout out to Nick. We did the review on his channel, and after giving it listening, and also I was also gradually getting back into it as well. Like over time, it has really become one of my favorite albums from the band, especially for the Peter Gabriel era. Just musically, I think this is where in terms of they were at their most out there, especially with the storytelling, what Peter was cooking up. Again, I don't really pay attention to the story at all. So, but I just come for the music. But it's just a really, really excellent concept album, good rock opera. And yeah, it's definitely has risen the ranks for me. So that's going to be number 4. And now we have probably the biggest outlier in my list, because everything I've talked about is either progressive rock or hard rock. That's the only 2 things I've talked about. But here's the only outlier, and you can actually see one of them behind me. Joni Mitchell, Court and Spark.
Yeah.
This is one of my, if not one of it, it's kind of hard. It's either Blue or this album that goes back and forth between which one's my favorite Joni album. This is an interesting one, known for more singer-songwriter folk song, but by this point in 74, starting to incorporate a little bit more jazz influence, and that's something she would go on even further later in the decade. But here, this just it's not too much yet. You still have that singer-songwriter that you know her from. And yeah, I love this album when I first heard it. The title track, really nice piano song to kind of get just started, which goes right into probably the biggest hit on here with Help Me. Love Help Me, great production on that one. And the percussion and the vocals are just really nice. Free Man in Paris is really cool, and then you have People's Parties. That's one of my favorite songs, People's Parties. Just a very nice acoustic song, which then blends into Same Situation. Then you have other kind of more interesting songs like Car on the Hill, which is really cool. Down to You, Just Like This Train. And then the rest of the album is just a really cool listen. So yeah, this is definitely up there as one of my favorite Joni albums for sure. So that's going to be number 3.
Okay. I had a feeling that would make it on there.
For number 2, yeah. And then number 2, back to the prog. It's probably my favorite album from this band, as I've said many times. It's Relayer by Yes.
Oh yeah, Relayer.
Yeah. So this is the only album. Well, this is the first album where the keyboards Rick Wakeman left. You have Patrick Moraz on keyboards this time, and he does a really good job on here, honestly. But this album does kind of follow a similar theme to Close to the Edge. There's only 3 songs again. You have the one side Epic, and then you have 2 longer but not as long songs on side 2. And I don't know. This is always the Yes album I always go back to. Not only are they have the prog rock, but they also are incorporating a lot of jazz fusion into their sound, which I think they do. Yes, and jazz fusion go really well together. You have the first song, Gates of Delirium. Again, that's an epic song on here, just basically this showcasing this battle going on, and you just feel like you're in the battle itself. It's just a really awesome stuff. And I also love the last section, which is just this beautiful kind of more ballads thing that John Anderson sings, which is really, really nice. Then you have Sound Chaser, which is definitely the biggest jazz fusion song. It goes in many directions. It's frantic. It just goes into many crazy sections, but it all just comes together strangely well at the end. And then you close off with one of Yes's most underrated songs, with To Be Over. Just another gorgeous track, and some of my favorite Steve Howe guitar playing, because he's using the slide guitar on this one, and it just sounds really beautiful throughout the entire song, and definitely ends it on a very, very, very happy note, I think. But yeah, it's my favorite Yes album, and it's pretty high on the list. So that's number 2. What could possibly be number 1?
There's 2 albums that I'm thinking of, but one spot left. So I am a little confused, a little curious what's going to happen to one spot here.
All right. Number 5. Caribou by Elton John. I like this album a lot more than most people. I think that this is a fantastic Elton John album. Yes, it can be silly and goofy at times, but that's Elton John for you. Like, look at this album cover. You're saying this is supposed to be another Yellow Brick Road. He looks like he's just going to write some fun songs, you know. And that's what he does on this album. A lot of these songs just have like a fun vibe to them. A lot of them tell like a fun story. Pinky, Grimsby, Dixie Lily, all just fun, chill songs. And then you get Solar Prestige Agamon, which is just nonsense, but I love it because it makes me laugh every time I hear it. He's basically just saying a bunch of random words that like mean nothing. You're So Static is a really good rocking song. I've Seen the Saucers is an awesome song about alien abduction. Stinker is the only stinker on the album, but it kind of incorporates like some jazz in there. It's not a terrible song, but it's right in the title. It's the only stinker on the album. Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. I love that song. That song is awesome. I've always loved that one. I love the piano. And Ticking, very underrated album closer. So 5, Elton John. We've talked about this album a few times before. 4, we have The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway by Genesis. I had my huge Genesis phase in 2024 where I was listening to basically anything in their catalog other than Calling All Stations on repeat. And this is my favorite album of theirs from the Peter Gabriel years, I'll say. I'm probably going to make the bold statement that this is probably them at their musical peak, like not their creative peak. Like they're going to create better albums than this, in my opinion. But like as far as their musicianship, everyone is in top form on this album, especially Tony Banks, who does some of the greatest keyboard soloing in the history of music on this album. Phil Collins is amazing on the drums as always. Peter Gabriel really getting in the persona of the character of Rael on this album. And Mike Rutherford on the bass. Very creative album. Very weird album, though. I'll say that much. The story makes no sense. And some of these songs like are just weird, but like that kind of adds to the charm of this record, if that makes sense. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway is an awesome opener. I love how it just kind of fades in with that piano solo at the beginning. And then they just has that triumphant opening with the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Fly on a Windshield and Broadway Melody of 74 are awesome. In the Cage is my favorite song on this album. That probably has the best keyboard solo ever in it. Carpet Crawlers, very, very close second favorite song on this album. That one's awesome as well. Anyway, that's an awesome song. I do kind of agree that it kind of falls off a little bit in the second half, but there's still some good stuff like The Colony of Slippermen, Riding the Scree, It. Yeah. And again, like, before this album, Tony Banks's keyboard playing was kind of done on like organs and pianos. He's playing a lot around with synthesizers for the first time on this album. And it kind of like adds this experimental edge to the album. Because, like, you know, you hear stuff on Nursery Crime and he's playing all this piano and synthesizer stuff, or sorry, piano and organ stuff. But, like, Tony Banks is, like, one of the greatest keyboard players ever. So getting to hear him, like, play around with all these different synthesizer sounds is just really fun. Well, I don't know. He had done synthesizers on Selling England by the Pound. I forgot about Cinema Show. But this is kind of the first album where, like, the synthesizers are kind of front and center. Like in the previous albums, he uses more organ and piano, but he's kind of using more synthesizers on this album. Next, we have number 3, another progressive rock album that Bryer had just talked about. We have Relayer by Yes. It's just 3 songs, but they're all awesome. Gates of Delirium may be one of the greatest things I've ever heard. It puts all of the horror of war right in front of your very ears and then tells you, like, there's hope. Stop the fighting, basically. at the end with the to be, or not the to be over is the name of the last song, the soon section, basically saying like soon all the war will be over, like stop the fighting and be kind to others, stuff kind of like, very very hippie message, but like whenever you hear that terrible battle, you're like, yeah, no, I don't want war. Like I'll be nice. I don't want war. Like don't make me do that. Because like some of the synthesizer sounds and the guitar soloing on here, like they literally mimic a battle. Like they have like a section where they're preparing for battle, and there's a good like 5 minute section where it's just like a battle is happening in front of your ears. Sound Chaser is this awesome jazz fusion song and has one of the most epic guitar solos ever, where it just cuts out and it's just Steve Howe doing this unaccompanied thing, kind of like Heartbreaker. And that song is awesome as well. And then To Be Over is a kind of a chill closer. And there's like a sitar on that as well. Yeah, that's a really cool album. That's going to be all the progressive rock on my list. Number 2, we have On the Border by the Eagles. The Eagles have been making my top 10 consistently for the past few years. But this is one of their best albums here. This is the first album where you get Don Felder, but he's only on a few of the songs. He's a full-time member by the next album, but this is the first album where you get him. Some really big stuff on here. Already Gone, The Best of My Love, On the Border. But all of the songs are really good. There's some underrated stuff on here. Midnight Flyer is great. You Never Cry Like a Lover. My Man, which is their tribute to Graham Parsons from the Flying Burrito Brothers. There's a song about James Dean that's really good. Old 55, that's a cover. Is It True? Yeah, Is It True is a really underrated song with Randy Meisner on lead vocals. The title track on this has kind of got a little bit of a funk edge to it. This is kind of where the Eagles were trying to shed their country rock image, and we're going just all out rock, which they really fully embraced by the next album, One of These Nights. But yeah, that's my number 2 is On the Border.
All right. There's like one Yes album that I kind of like. I don't know if you guys will even guess what it is.
Was it 90125?
No,
What?
I think it was Big Generator.
Oh, yeah, that's the one that comes after 90125.
I have to look, but I think it's in competition for my top 10, I think, of that year. Anyways, I finally got to a Yes album because I kept going, I want to like a Yes album because you guys keep talking about Yes, and I keep listening to them and going, I don't know, something about it. I'm just can't get into it. And then I finally heard that I think it was Big Generator. I was like, okay, I kind of like this. Like
You need to
finally got
listen to
something.
90125 again. Trevor Rabin,
Yeah.
he replaces Steve Howe when Steve Howe leaves, and Trevor Rabin has more of a pop edge. He was like kind of a big pop star, rock star from South Africa, and he kind of brings a more him and their new producer.
Yeah.
What's his name from the Buggles?
Trevor Horn.
Trevor Horn, yeah. Trevor Horn from the Buggles becomes their producer, and he kind of, he kind of helps them make the sound of Owner of a Lonely Heart, and that's kind of what those two albums sound like.
Yeah, I got it right here, Big Generator. I was right. For 1987. It's on I haven't re-listened to it. So we'll see. But 87's a pretty good year, so it's got some good stuff.
87's a great year.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at 87. It's still got
You can probably guess my top album of 87, but
I'm working on 86 at the moment. So. Anyways, I thought maybe Bryer would be happy to hear that I like the Yes album. Even though it's not one of the probably big albums. All right. All right, number 5 for me, I'm going with Pretzel Logic by Steely Dan, which Scott mentioned. So I feel like me and Scott maybe have the most albums the same. I don't know. We agree the most, maybe, out of 4 of us. I don't know if we have the similar taste in music or what's going on there.
My list is like half of Jason's list and half of Bryer's list.
Yeah, because I feel like Bryer and Nick, I don't know if I have any of their albums on my list so far. No, no, none of you guys' albums made my top 10. But yeah, so it's an interesting year in that sense that we all have similar, or we have different kind of tastes, I guess. Even though we all like a lot of the same things, we still little things here and there that we differ on. But yeah, Press of Logic, I actually really like this album. I like Steely Dan's kind of early period. I feel like it's more of their soft rock period before they get into the jazz fusion period, which I'm not a fan of the jazz fusion period. But a couple of these albums early on, I think, are really good. Even though I do agree with Nick that don't like Donald Fagen's voice. And some of these songs, I still go, Fagen's voice is a little off. But the musicianship is so good, and there's still some good, like, kind of harmonies and melodies in there that I really enjoy. As you mentioned, Ricky Don't Lose That Number is a great opener. That Ricky Don't Lose That Number. It's like so catchy. And any major dude would tell you that's definitely like Fagen's. You really hear Fagen's voice in that one, where you're like, oh man, what's going on with Fagen? I like the song. It's good. Berrytown is really good. I really enjoy that one. Charlie Freak and Night by Night also wrote down as some pretty good songs on here, but um, not nearly as good as the first album. Much better than the second album. And I think I like the fourth album better than this one even. But this is still, I think, a strong album by Steely Dan. He's at number 5. Number 4, album mentioned before, and I'm guessing it will be mentioned again, but I got Sheer Heart Attack by Queen, so gotta have some Queen in here. Queen 2 didn't make my list, but I feel like Queen 2 was more of the prog rock style album. Well, to me, Sheer Heart Attack is more glam rock. I feel like that's kind of get more into their glam rock period or style. Me and Bryer did a whole thing on glam rock on my channel, and we did a whole thing on Queen as part of the glam rock period. And to me, I don't know why I feel like this was like their big glam rock album. I might be wrong, but that was just my feeling at the time. Uh, but yeah, it's got some great rockers. I mean, I think it's definitely the best one so far out of the three, and then it gets just even better after this. We're gonna have a string of Queen albums make my top 10. This to like the game, I think I'll make my top 10. So that's like, I don't know, what, 6 albums in a row probably. They'll get in my top 10. The Queen's going to be on a huge run of just great albums. And Killer Queen, I mean, come on, that's one of the most iconic songs by them. I love that has the Queen in the title. It's so cool. But yeah, super catchy song, great vocals. I love Stone Cold Crazy. I think that's one of the fast pacedness of it is so great. I love how it's just like so fast and it's so awesome. It's a great rocker and just that chorus like cold, Stone Cold Crazy, yeah. Brighton Rock is also another great rock song on here. This, like I said, some great rock songs on here. And then as Scott mentioned, Now I'm Here is really great. And then She Makes Me also wrote down. I thought it was, I think, more of a ballad maybe on the album. There's a couple like ballads, but they're really short, but
The
they're like
sexy
decent.
stormtrooper song.
Yes, I didn't write that part down, but yes, this trooper. I always thought that was funny. I was like Star Wars? Like I was like, what? um, but yeah, so yeah, a lot of good stuff here. Yeah, Queen gets better even after this year, but still, this is like the first like really good album, I think. So yeah, it makes my number 4. We'll see if someone else will have it on their list. Number 3, no one mentioned this, but this is my favorite Doobie Brothers album so far, and that is What Were Once Vices Are Now Habits. Makes all the way number 3. Yeah, I this was maybe the other best discovery. I feel like Perfect Angel and this album were two ones I really didn't know anything about. And doing research for this, year, this one really went up my list. Like I said, it went all the way to number 3 and went past some pretty big albums to get there. And it's like, Dude Brothers, I feel like the first, like Captain and Me was an honorable mention last year, had some good stuff on that one. Um, this has like one big hit song, Blackwater, which is amazing. The old Blackwater, keep on. Uh, Great guitar work. I love that. Or that great guitar work on that album. And just
Jason, do
that
you know the
chorus.
story of Blackwater?
No?
It was a B-side
Really?
The single was Another Park, Another Sunday, and Blackwater was the B-side. They thought it was a throwaway song, and the radio
That's
DJ
crazy.
accidentally played the wrong side, and all of a sudden they started getting phone calls. Can you play that Blackwater song
Yeah.
again? And that's how they became a hit.
I was gonna say I've heard it on the radio quite a bit, so it's one of their
Played the wrong
most played
side.
songs, probably. That's funny because that's definitely I think my favorite song on the album, one of my favorite of theirs. It feels like the early Doobie Brothers. I think maybe were more what bluesy. I think if I remember right, and then later on in the '70s, they're gonna get more yacht rock with Michael McDonald joining. So this is kind of right in that period, but I don't know what to call it. It's not hard rock. It's not yacht rock. I don't think it's not blues rock, but it's really catchy music, really good guitar work. I think there's a lot of great guitar playing throughout the album. And yeah, I just love the vocals on these and some of the harmonies and stuff. I don't know. It's just like the perfect Doobie Brothers album so far for me that I've heard. And there's some other Doobie Brothers albums I think that are gonna make my list later on as well. But also the song to see you through. Looks like Spirit, Eyes of Silver. Tell me what you want, and I'll give you what you need. I really like that song. And Another Park, Another Sunday also wrote down as a really good song on this album. So a lot of deep cuts with a one really huge hit. But I don't know, this is definitely one of those. Yeah, again, I would highly recommend anybody hasn't listened to Doobie Brothers. I thought this was a really excellent album. Um, then number two. Uh, I am in total agreement with Scott. I have On the Border from Eagles. And my number one, number two were definitely like I knew right away what my number one, number two was. Like my top two were definitely like, okay, I know these are my top two. And then I had to figure out everything else after that. Like it could go either way. But the top two were like, yeah, these are by far my favorite of the year, the two strongest albums in my opinion. But again, I'm a big Eagles fan, like Scott. They're one of my favorite bands, and they're another one where we're gonna see a lot of Eagles. Eagles made it last time with Desperado. Made it this year. I think they're gonna make it. Next 2 years they're gonna be making it, or next two albums. Next three albums, I think. Yeah. So they're gonna have like five albums in a row, make it in my top 10. I just really love their sound overall. Um, and this has, I think, what two amazing songs. Already Gone and The Best of My Love are two amazing hits. Best of My Love, especially, is one of my top Eagle songs, like a top five. Some of the best harmonies I've ever heard on an album. I think it was in my top 100 favorite albums I already talked about on my channel. I think I said, if you like harmonies, you'll like this song. It's just so good that chorus, The Best of My Love, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's just, man, it's one of those songs that I just love listening to for that harmonies. Yeah, I wrote down My Man, I liked a lot, and Old 55 and Is It True are other really good, more deeper cuts, I guess, on the album. But again, man, love the harmonies. And yeah, this is going more rock and less country, like the last two albums, as Scott said, because they changed a little bit with Don Fielder and a different producer, I believe. And they're going a different direction, and I like that. Even though I like Desperado, I think I like this even more, this direction that they're going, and we'll see in the next couple albums. And yeah, just love their overall sound. Anyway, so that's my number two. All right, so we're gonna go to our honorable mentions and dishonorable mention, and I have a feeling me and Nick will have the same dishonorable mention. We'll see, but there's one album that I've been waiting to talk about. Anyway, so we'll go, Nick. You can start
Yeah,
off.
finally, we something we could actually agree on. Anyways, honorable mentions: Relayer by Yes, Pretzel Logic by Steely Dan, Hollies, self-titled, and Dark Horse by George Harrison. That's it. That's all my honorable mentions. Dishonorable mention: Preservation Act 2 by the Kinks.
Yes.
This album is not good. Really, really bad. It's one of the worst albums I've ever heard. For one, like imagine Tommy and Lamb like imagine like the nonsense on Lamb Lies Down on Broadway
That's another
and the
rock.
theatrics and like and like the four bad songs on Tommy, like Uncle Ernie, um Tommy's Holiday Camp, Underchurch, the worst songs on there. Now make that a double album. Bam. Preservation Act 2. It's not good. It's really bad. It's so bad. One song, Flash's Dream, literally opens up to like Ray Davies going, Flash. And like, Flash. And like Ray Davies
Who
going,
is it?
Who is
Your
this?
soul.
Voice. I am your soul.
It's so bad.
And like the amount, there's like 20 different like announcements throughout the album too.
Yeah,
It's
it's 3 or 4 announcements in there. Yeah.
I'm like, you're trying to get me into this album, like the story, and I'm just thinking this music is so bad. I
Yeah.
don't give a crap about your story. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's like one of the worst albums ever made.
Do you have that on vinyl?
Unfortunately.
And Bryer had it on CD. Wow.
He has the record.
Yeah, I think you both have it on record somehow. Oh man. All right, Bryer. I guess your turn.
Okay. So you would think because of 74, you'd think I wouldn't have as many honorable mentions this time. Wrong. I still got plenty. Got plenty. All right, try to get this quickly. All right. First up, 10TC, Street Music, ABBA, Waterloo, Aerosmith, Get Your Wings, America, Holiday, Bachman Turner Overdrive, Not Fragile, Bad Company, self-titled, Billy Joel, Street Life Serenade, Budgie, In for the Kill, Chicago 7, David Bowie, Diamond Dogs, Deep Purple, they released 2 albums with Stormbringer. Then we have Dolly Parton, Jolene. And then Electric Light Orchestra, El Dorado, Elton John, Caribou, Fanny, Rock and Roll Survivors, Fleetwood Mac, Heroes Are Hard to Find, Gene Clark, No Other. That one came very close. Gentle Giant, The Power and the Glory, Graham Parsons, Grievous Angel, Hawkwind, Hall of the Mountain Grill, Herbie Hancock, Thrust, Jethro Tull, War Child, John Denver. I feel like somebody's going to mention that one later. Back Home Again. Then we have John Lennon, Walls and Bridges. I actually like Walls and Bridges actually a little bit.
Okay, so yeah.
Judas Priest, yeah, with their first album, Rockarola. Kansas with their first album, King Crimson, Starless and Bible Black and Red. Kiss's debut, Lou Reed, Sally Can't Dance, Leonard Skinner, Second Helping. Mike Nesmith, formerly of the Monkees, with his album The Prison. It's actually pretty good. Mott the Hoople with The Hoople. Neil Young, On the Beach. Queen, Sheer Heart Attack. Yeah, that was another one that came close. Randy Newman, Good Old Boys. Richard and Linda Thompson, I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight. Robin Trower, Bridges of Sighs. Roxy Music, Country Life. Rufus, the band where Shaka Khan got her start with Russified. Rush's debut, Slade and Flame. Sparks with Kimono My House and Propaganda. Steely Dan, Pretzel Logic, Stevie Wonder, Fulfilling This First Finale. Yeah, that's annoying to say. Styx, Man of Miracles.
Styx.
And then Sweet with Desolation Boulevard. The Doobie Brothers, What Were Once Vices Were Now Habits. The Rolling Stones, It's Only Rock and Roll. Todd Rundgren's Utopia, self-titled. Traffic, When the Eagle Flies. UFO, Phenomenon, that's when they start getting good. And Uriah Heep with Wonderworld. And last one I'll mention, honorable mention, is Weather Report, Mysterious Traveler. And now we go into my least favorite album of 74. And, I will admit, Preservation Act 2 was a contender for the bottom. But honestly, after I gave this album a listen, this makes Preservation Act 2 sound like a masterpiece.
Oh, okay.
That album is from a band called The Residents with their album, Meet the Residents. Get it?
Oh, they ruined Meet the
As they-
Beatles.
It's like with the Beatles. Oh, didn't
Yeah.
you get this
They
last
graffitied
year?
Meet the Beatles.
Yep, and look at them. You got look at did my boy Ringo. They made him a starfish.
It looks like the thing from Stranger Things.
Yeah. So the thing is, yeah, Preservation Act 2 is also not good, but at least that album had melodies in it at times.
It did,
This
I
has
guess.
none of that. This is, I mean, they're supposedly pretty well known in the experimental music scene, but this is one of those cases. Like, I like weird stuff, but this is one of those cases. It's too weird for me. And when I say
Too
that,
weird for Bryer.
if you know when you say when I say something, if I talk about something I don't like, you know you're screwed if you're gonna go listen to it.
So I'm not gonna like it either,
But-
probably.
Yeah, no, you will despise this with a passion. This will be one of the worst albums you ever heard in your life.
Okay. Wow.
Is it gonna make
Yeah.
the Shag sound good?
Actually, I prefer to listen to the Shags, honestly, than this.
Oh man.
At least it's funny to listen to. This one, I was just
Yeah.
sitting there. I was just sitting there listening to it. I'm like, where are we going? But yeah,
Wow.
I didn't. Again, some people really enjoy this album. I don't get it personally, but yeah, that's my bottom for 1974.
I'm sure somebody out there is going to be like, you don't understand the genius of the Residents. Or...
Oh, 100%. I know. Brother.
A very lazy album cover. All they did was
I know.
scribble over Meet the Beatles.
That's what the Beatles. What's going on? Or Meet the Beatles, yeah, or whatever, yeah. Oh my gosh. They should be sued
They
for
even
that.
have last names. Yeah, you have Paul Mick Crawfish, John Crawfish, George Crawfish, and Ringo Starfish.
Oh my gosh. Where do they have the goal?
I don't know.
Just wait till you get the next album, the Resident second album.
I'm not getting
Yeah,
it,
what's their other album?
if that's the
A
case.
Hard Day's Resident.
Sergeant Salt and I don't know. Something.
Sir,
Colonel
Captain,
Salt and
Captain,
like, wait a minute.
Captain Salt's Heartache Band.
I get a theme going here. What?
Get this. The Purple Album. Anyway, my honorable mentions for me. Bad
Yeah.
Company, self-titled album. I have it. I actually did like it. It's just not as good as some of the other stuff.
That was a big selling album, evidently, and I'm guessing it has
Yeah.
their big hit on it.
Yeah,
Bad Company.
the Bad Company from Bad Company by Bad Company is an awesome song.
Yeah.
It's got that. You got the trifecta: song, band, and album name.
Yeah.
Diamond Dogs by Bowie. Rebel Rebels on that one. I'll go ahead and say Rush's first album. Why not? 461 Ocean Boulevard by Eric Clapton. A lot of it was kind of boring, but there was some good stuff on there, like I Shot the Sheriff and Let It Grow. Red by King Crimson. I listened to that. Starless and Bible Black is a pretty good album closer. Get Your Wings by Aerosmith. It's Only Rock and Roll by the Rolling Stones. That's going to be my one there. And you are not going to be very happy for my dishonorable mention. I don't think Bryer will be very happy with it. But mine is going to be Hotter Than Hell by Kiss. I did not care for this album.
I figure.
And like I know they get better. Like I've heard Detroit Rock City is awesome. I'm pretty sure when we get to what's that Destroyer or whatever, they're gonna get really good. But like right now, they just seem kind of more like a brand than a band. Like it's all about just like the looks. They're selling all these records based on their looks. It's kind of how it's.
I
I
know,
will
most people think
say
that's the opposite.
I will say Ace Frehley is a good guitar player. I did enjoy his guitar playing, but I felt kind of like he was a lot more talented than the other members of the band.
Yeah, I listened to the first couple Kiss albums. I wasn't into it. I don't know. I just
Nah.
I'm not gonna say it's like the worst thing I've listened to, but it just wasn't memorable to me.
I
I
have
guess I
not
just
heard The
I was like,
Residents nor Preservation Act 2, so if I ever heard either of those, you
yeah,
can bet that
yeah,
those are worse than
yeah,
Kiss's second album. But
yeah.
that's the worst one that I've listened to at the moment. So
Like I can name you one Kiss song that's rock and roll all night, whatever, and party
that's
every
on their
day.
next album, Dress to Kill.
And I like the song. That's only the song I could probably name you from Kiss. Anyways, yeah, actually, while listening to you guys, I put two more honorable mentions on my list, so I have four now. I added Waterloo from ABBA on my honorable mentions, and Heroes Are Hard to Find. I put that on honorable mentions just hearing you guys
Oh,
talk about it.
did I mention What Are Once Vices Are Now Habits by Doobie
No,
Brothers?
no,
Okay, that's an honorable mention. Don't think that's gonna be my number one. I
I thought
liked
that
it, but
might, I thought that might make your top 10, but it
it
didn't.
was
So
pretty cool. It was like that would probably be like number 11 or number 12.
okay, yeah,
That and Bad
um,
Company are probably my 11 and 12.
yeah. And then the other two that I had originally was El Dorado by ELO and Court and Spark by Joni Mitchell were the two that came very close to make my top 10. It was between that and the Ringo Billy Joel thing, and I just went with them because I feel like their music maybe a little more catchier, I guess, and I can get into it a little bit easier. And yeah, Preservation Act 2 is one of the worst albums I've ever heard in my life. We did this whole Kinks uh deep dive whatever on Nick's channel, and Preservation Act 1 was not very good either, but way better than 2 was this double album, which makes it worse. It's like you think of what's the great rock opera double albums, you're gonna think Tommy, you're gonna think um The Wall, you're gonna think Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, maybe Quadrophenia. Preservation Act 2 is not in that list of great double album rock opera albums. Uh, yeah, that was such a painful chore to get through. I think because it was a double album, that made it even worse trying to get through it and just going. Every song was so boring and not interesting. And then yeah, you're trying to tell the story, so you have these announcements every once in a while, like a news report, and breaking up each side. And then Flash's Dream, towards the end of the album, is one of the worst things I've ever heard. Where it was like I was like already going, man, I'm just getting tired of this album. It's so fatiguing, I guess, to get through. I'm just like, man, I'm waiting for that. And then I got to Flash's Dream, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. I was like, really wanting to quit the album after I heard that. I was like, it's one of those things where you just go, I'm done. Like, I think I finished the album, but I was like, it was one of those moments you have where you just go, I just want to quit this album and not listen to it anymore. Because it was just, and I know someone thinks this is like a genius album, and I'm just not smart enough to understand it. I don't know. I didn't get it. So yeah, I definitely easily one of the worst albums I've ever heard in my life. The only thing worse, I think, is probably that Shags album when I finally when Bryer talked about it that one time, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a listen, and that's maybe the worst album I've ever heard. It's just not even music. It's just like I said, Preservation Act 2 at least had melodies, and they seem to be on the same page musically. uh, but yeah, all right. Now we're getting to our number one favorite song of 1974, or favorite album, sorry. Favorite album, 1974. Couple big ones that we haven't talked about, so let's see what we got.
Okay, so the champions of 1974, first time champion, first of many, I'm gonna say.
I have a feeling.
Your Heart Attack
Yeah, sure.
by
Okay.
Queen. Yes, so they were snubbed last year with the Quadrophenia by the Who, so they were able to get their revenge this year. They got it this year. They got the number one. Brain Rock. That's an epic song. That's like a really great rock song, great guitar work. Then the second song, Killer Queen. I love that song. She's a killer queen, gunpowder, guillotine, dynamite, diva, laser beam. guaranteed to blow your mind
Mind.
anytime. I love the 3-song medley. That's great. I really love Now I'm Here. Misfire is like one of the catchiest yet most weirdest songs ever.
It's a
In the
happy
Lap of the
song.
Gods, In the Lap of the Gods is weird, but the second one though, Revisit, that song is awesome. Overall, just amazing Queen album. I'm looking forward to talk about the other Queen albums, but yeah, this is my favorite album of the year.
Awesome. I had a feeling we would all be getting that one on our list
Yeah.
since we're all Queen fans. Bryer, you might have something a little bit different, but not too different. Let's see.
The biggest Queen fan didn't put Sheer Heart Attack in its top 10.
I'm baffled,
Yeah.
but
Yep. I mean, that shouldn't be shock, as I've talked about how I like Sheer Heart Attack a lot, but it's never been
yeah.
one of my favorites of the 70s for some reason. So, no, it's an album so great. I now have it 3 times. If you can get all 3 in frame. But yeah, it has to be Queen. It has to be Queen too. There was just no other. I just couldn't.
Wow,
there was no
2
other
different
album.
Queen
I
albums
knew.
in our top.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, going into it, I knew 100% this was gonna be number 1. Like that was like the easiest choice I was gonna make.
Okay.
It's always been, again, in my top comes to Queen. It's always been in my top 3. So it was like no, it was like we've mentioned before. Again, this is whatever they wanted, and they really took full advantage of that. And there's so many different paths they go in. You know, the side white side I think is really underrated. And you have all the Bryan. I think is some really incredible stuff like Father the Son, and I also like the Roger song, The Loser in the End. Which or side 2, and this is like some of my favorite, probably one of my favorite side 2s of any album. And then you have the short ballad with Nevermore, and one of my favorite Queen deep cuts with the March of the Black Queen. One of the big precursors of what they were gonna do in a bit in the next year. But then you get the nice little kind of more flower power, Funny How Love Is, which is still pretty nice. And then you get their first top 10 hit with 7 Seas of Rye, which is pretty iconic in these days. And also gotta mention the wonderful album cover, the iconic look, the image they would use throughout the career. And yeah, to me, again, like I said, it was not hard to know what was going to be number 1. It was just no contest. But yeah, that's my number 1, Queen 2.
I don't think we ever had a band get number 1 in 2 different lists for different albums. That's an interesting, I don't know if even the Beatles might have done that, but I don't remember. Did Scott join? Did Scott join by then?
For which one?
For 67.
No, that was the last. I
Okay.
was like watching it live and putting my
Okay.
ones in like in the chat.
I was thinking that might have been a year because Magical Mystery Tour was my favorite album, and then you might have had Sgt. Pepper's. That would be like the only time that would happen. That doesn't happen very often, where you have 2 albums by one band reach number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's kind of a rare thing. It's kind of cool. But yeah. Anyway, Scott, I'm actually you already have Sheer Heart Attack and Queen 2 on your list, so I'm kind of I don't have a guess right now. So
I don't know if this is going to be on anybody else's list. I am surprised and shocked that this is my number 1, but
yeah.
Listen to all the albums again. This is my favorite one for this year. Second Helping by Leonard Skinner.
Oh, okay. Leonard Skinner.
This album's awesome. And I really liked their first album, Freebird. Amazing. I think that as a whole, though, this album is even better than their first album, even though I think Freebird is probably their best song. This album, kind of all the way through, I think is a much better album. Well, I say much better album. Their first album was already amazing, but like, it's like this is like even better. You start out with Sweet Home Alabama, which that song is awesome. It's got the great guitar playing on it. Then you get this really good ballad, I Need You, which kind of just rocks out for a bit. And they have like 3 different guitar players, so you get to hear a lot of great guitar soloing. Then we got Don't Ask Me No Stupid Questions. I love that song as well. That's kind of a more upbeat number. And then they have a song. I always love it whenever bands name check their record label. Working for MCA. That song is great as well. And then you flip it over, you get the Ballad of Curtis Lowe. Man, that's a sad story about this kid who, every time he got some money, would go bring it to this man to play the blues, and then the man dies, and nobody goes to his funeral but the kid whenever he grows up. And it's such a sad story, but the storytelling is just so good. Swamp Music, that one's fun. You get another rocker with The Needle and the Spoon, an anti-drug song. And then it closes out with Call Me the Breeze, which is another awesome song that's got a great guitar riff. So yeah, that's going to be my number 1 for this year.
Boy, I totally forgot about that album coming out this year. Because like I said, no one mentioned it. It wasn't on my list of best-selling albums or nominated for Grammy. So yeah, I just know their big song is on here, and I like that song. But kind of their iconic. I mean, Freebird is, but that seems to be their most well-known song. Sweet Home Alabama. So we're gonna have 4 different number 1s. I feel like Bryer already guessed my number 1, so maybe everybody did. But I'm so happy to say this is an artist that has made my top 10 twice before, came actually pretty close to getting to my number 1. And so I am happy to say John Denver finally got into my number 1 spot with Back Home Again, which was nominated for Album of the Year. I think was a top 10 best-selling album too, so it did very, very well. It was the first number 1 hit album too, I think. The other 2 weren't number 1 hit albums, but this was a number 1 hit album. And I'm a big fan of John Denver. Like I said, Poems, Prayers, and Promises made in 3rd spot in 71, and then Rocky Mountain High made it into my 2nd spot. I don't know if that was 72 or whatever that came out. And so it's come very close. My 3rd, 2nd. Now I can say John Denver is got one of my favorite albums now. And my favorite is 74. Like I said, easily this and On the Border were my 2 favorite albums. And when I really had to look at them both, I kind of was like, I gotta go with Back Home Again because of the big hits on here. It's got 4 songs that are like top tier John Denver songs for me. I mean, you got Back Home Again, the title song. Really nice laid back song. Matthew, I love Matthew, super catchy, and it's about Kansas. He talks about Colby, Kansas, something like that. And his uncle comes to the farm to help his dad on the farm, and talks about the great blue skies of Kansas. I love it. Super catchy too. Maybe one of his biggest songs, my favorite song on the album is Annie's Song, one of the great love songs of all time, where he's comparing his love for his wife Annie to the nature, because he loves, of course, writing about nature stuff and the senses that he gets from, you fill up my senses like a night in the forest. Like, I love the comparison. A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song that my parents went down the aisle on Annie's Song, I should say. So big songs for my parents. And This Old Guitar, I love that song. It's such a cool song about singing. He's singing about how I love just the lyrics of this old guitar taught me to write a love song. That's such a great line about, ode to his kind of guitar and how that guitar, learning that guitar, he learned to play music and learn how to be, one of the great folk artists of all time. Love that whole song. Anyways, other than that, there's some pretty cool songs in here. Like On the Road is a real fun song, just about a road trip when he was a kid and they got lost. It's a really good song. And Cool and Green and Shady is really great. And also Eclipse is a really good song. So lots of good stuff on here. I feel like it's a little more country-ish than his other two albums, even, which I'm not as big fan of the country-ish type of stuff, but like Thank God I'm a Country Boy was a big hit, I guess, off this album. I don't like that song. I don't know, it's very country.
Really?
And
Love that
yeah,
song. Thank God I'm a
I,
good boy.
yeah, it's just like too country for me or something. And I'm not a country person, so thank God I'm a country boy. I don't relate. And then like my grandma's whatever feather bed or something like that is also like super country. But still, this is another. I mean, Poems, Prayers, and Promises, Rocky Mountain High, and Back Home Again are just top tier John Denver albums. They're my top three. I got all three on CD, and definitely the three that I listen to a lot. And yeah, so I'm very happy to put Back Home Again at number one spot on my list. And I guess I'm the only one that has it on my list. So um, yeah, love John Denver and his music. So yeah, so that's my number one. Um, Interesting to look. None of us we didn't have one album that made all four lists. Like we usually have like maybe one album that we all agree on. This time, the ones that we came close was The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, I believe. You three had it on your list. Three of us had Sheer Heart Attack on the list as well. Crime of the Century, I think, made your three lists. So I missed out on that one by Supertramp. I don't know why. I'm not as big on that. I love the Bloody All Right song, but then I don't know. I'm not into that album as much. I was a little disappointed by it because I know it's a big album for them. And I do like two of their albums that will be in my top 10 coming up for sure. So we'll get some Supertramp in the future. But I don't know. This is we all kind of disagree somewhat on this year, it feels like. Am I crazy?
Nah.
Well, me and Jason were very different.
We had one album the same, was just Your Heart Attack.
Yeah.
Me and Bryer, I don't think we had one album the same. That's interesting. Except for Court and Spark was my honorable mention. That was the only close one. And Bryer had a bunch of honorable mentions, of course, that were in my top 10. But yeah, interesting. We didn't, because Bryer really went with those prog rock albums, and that I'm not into as much. And the more hard rock, I guess, whatever you want to say. Scott and I, we agreed a little more with, let's see, one, two, three, four. So we had four the same. That's about the most we agreed on. Again, you three agree more than I agree with you guys. I feel like the odd man out. Some of these years, I'm like, man, I'm picking these albums nobody's picking, and I go more to the folk side, I think, and the soft rock side. Maybe I don't know. It's my style. But anyways, I'm
Once
just
you get to like the 90s, we're really gonna be
well,
off.
yeah, we're gonna be very different. I have a feeling 75. There's one album I think we're all gonna have on our list, so we'll
I
we'll
feel
have it.
confident it's gonna be
I
at
feel
least
confident.
in the top three as well.
It's going to be a top album too. I think we're all four of us, so we'll have some agreement there. Anyways, but yeah. All right, another year down. We're kind of halfway through the 70s, I guess you can say. So, uh, got 5 more years left in the 70s, and then we can do our top 10 70s albums, which I think is going to be a lot of fun because that was a hard list to make. I already made my top 10 albums of the 70s.
Oof.
Holy cow! I had to leave off some really great albums off that list. It was kind of hard it was painful to leave them off, but 70s have been really good so far. Even though this has been a weak year, the next couple of years are going to be amazing as well. I know. So with that, thank you so much to Nick, Bryer, and Scott for joining me once again and talking
Pleasure
about.
being on here.
Thank you for being on 1974. And again, thank you so much for Joe Watches Movies. He was a really good commentator just a couple nights ago on our Building the Perfect Album. So thank you so much to you, Joe. I'll call you Joe, I guess, for short. Uh, I appreciate your comments so much. Anyways, and with that, I don't think there's much more to say, but I'm sure Scott would say on to 75. Another
Next.
good year. Anyway, so besides that, I guess have a good rest of the weekend, and we will talk to you later.